Quirky Kitchen here. I've not been with you for a while. Marco's been doing most of the recipes, but today I am available and I'm going to make something quite straightforward that a lot of you eat all the time, but you also buy this from the shops, from Greggs most often. This is sausage rolls. And this is the sausage meat you buy in the freezer centre, or you can buy a pack of sausages and split them open. Today, to make it a little bit different, I'm going to mix it with some stuffing mix. So in here, I have the ordinary half a small packet of sage and onion stuffing mix, and I have added to it some fried, almost caramelised onion. Can you see it isn't very much? It's just to give the sausage rolls a little bit of a tang. I'm also going to add some parsley. This is sage and onion stuffing mix, not parsley and thyme. So remember the song, parsley, sage, rosemary and thyme. So we've got sage and onion. There's the parsley. Marco doesn't like rosemary, so we're not putting rosemary in. But we'll put a little bit of thyme. This was a bunch of fresh thyme, but now it's drying out, so I'm just going to flake off a few of the leaves. You can see some of it is still fresh. Not very much because it'll overpower the flavour. Into this dry mix, I am going to add some water with a chicken stock cube melted in it. It's just been boiled. And this is just to bring the dried stuffing mix up to the right consistency. So as you can see, it's probably half a cup I've put in at the moment. Now you have to keep stirring this round for a bit because it takes a while before it soaks into the dried mixture, and then you can add a little bit more of it. Don't be tempted to think that it's done on the first pouring in of the half cup. Yes, a little bit more. Let's put a little bit more in. Now, can you all see I've got one red nail? That's not on purpose. I'm just trying out a colour. It's not a new fashion. I know I am a bit of a fashion trendsetter, but not with one red nail. Right, there we go. Can you see that this is all amalgamating together and soaking into the dry mixture? To this I'm going to add half the packet of the sausage mix. I think this is 450 grams, so 220 grams of the sausage. Now the other half I will probably make the sausage rolls just straight from the mixture, straight from what's in this packet, because some of you don't like that stuffing mix added. I don't think you do you, Marco? No? Okay, I'll put that down there. Now this, I'm going to mix it together with my hands. My hands have just been washed just before I started, so I'm going to scrunch it all together, and then I shall leave it to cool before I put it into the puff pastry. This is Spanish puff pastry because I'm in Tenerife, and it's already rolled, but you can use whatever puff pastry you want. And I'll show you that bit in a minute when this mixture has cooled. Okay, piece of puff pastry. Now you can all see it's quite thin. So if you're rolling out your own pastry, make sure you roll it thin. You don't want to be eating all pastry and no filling. Now, I've got the mixture here. I've had it in the fridge so that it goes a bit cooler. It's easier to handle. It's still a little bit fiddly. So here we go. By hand, I get a little bit of the mixture and I start there. Can you see, Marco?
Yes.
Yes, okay, sometimes you can't see it properly. I'm moving it along carefully with my hand. It's still quite sloppy. It probably could have done with a little bit longer in the fridge, but I'll still be able to show you what I'm doing. In the meantime, I've got the oven on 180. I've got an oven tray with a piece of parchment paper on, and I'm going to put the sausage rolls on that. I have to tell you, they are rather Moorish And even though sausage rolls seems to be a bit of an old-fashioned thing to do, if you're having people round for drinks and make these into really tiny ones, they're very, very tasty because they've got that little bit of extra filling in. You can also put all sorts of things in, like cranberries, or you can put dried apricot or anything like that, but I think it's better just with the stuffing. I am now just going to clean my hands. I'm sorry, I'm going over there to clean my hands, Marco, right?
Yeah, just to answer the question from before.
Right, yes.
I was grown up in South Germany, near Switzerland and Austria, and we don't have sausage rolls there, so I'm not really a specialist. But I think I would prefer the ones with the meat only. So,
Yeah.
So that's my answer to that question.
One other aside, you can use for this the cheap sausage meat that I just showed you before. But if you use best quality sausages, homemade by the butcher, to make this, they are actually so much nicer. This is probably why I'm used to putting the stuffing mix in to make the ordinary sausage meat taste a little bit better. Okay, beaten egg, brush. Brush along this area here at the top, and then brush underneath it, because we're going to roll it over to make a roll, like so. Again, it is quite fiddly, but tuck that in and make it into a nice round sausage. There, over a little bit so that it's sealed, and then brush along the top so that when it comes out of the oven it's nice and brown. Make little tiny cut marks all along, not through the pastry, just so that it's got a pattern on the top all the way along, like so. And then knife into there and cut. You will then find that you can separate this slightly from the rest of the pastry, and you will be able to repeat this 2 more times. I'm now going to cut this into the size that I want. Now I'm going to cut these a little bit bigger, but you can do tiny ones for 1 bite size, or for more than 1 bite size, about that, because that's sort of what I would eat. If I have the 1 bite size one, I might end up eating 10 of them, and that's not good. These then go transferred across to where they're going to go into the oven, and I repeat the process. When these come out of the oven, I will not be able to resist them, and I'm afraid to tell you, yes, they are fattening. I'll show you the finished result when these have been in the oven. I can't even say a time, just until they're nicely browned. There we are, all on the baking tray. They're going into the oven now. They're not all symmetrical, but it doesn't actually matter with a sausage roll.
They are handmade